right, well, we're throwing chairs, not quite for the 200th time, but this is still part of the 200th episode. We are throwing chairs at On Rusty Trails from Black Pants Studio, one of the first game studios that actually gave us some keys, so we decided to return them some love on this, the day of our daughter's wedding. I mean, our 200th episode, whatever. It's built on the Scape engine, which is custom to them. You can pick it up for around 12 or 13 of your flu-barred, wet, stinky currencies, whatever. And what is it? You're Elvis. Your home is gone. Blast with this fast-paced platformer and instantly shift from rusty red to hairy blue. That sounds a bit kinky, but don't stick to one side or it will turn on you. That sounds doubly kinky. And you know it is triply kinky. The Chairquisition. One chair means that it's garbage. Two chairs means that it's meh. Three chairs means that it's good, and four chairs means that it's amazing. And our categories mix with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. You've seen this before. You're going to see it again. Let's kick this off. Did On Rusty Trails make with the working then?
Over here on the Ubuntu, still running the 1404 LTS because, 1604 LTS, that's why. Using the 8150 octo-core powered overclock to just the 4 gigahertz, not really an overclock for that because it's the black edition, terribly racist, with a 980 MSI twin frozer and all that fun stuff displayed at 2160, but I did play this at 1080p like the common folk. First off, Black Pants Studios, creators of Tiny and Big, they have been making Linux native games before Linux Gamecast existed, and this genuinely shows. They were the first studio that I ever pinged when their first Tiny and Big, small little demo came out before they released the full game, like a year later, and I pinged them. I'm like, oh yeah, here's an internal build, play with it and do all that. A lot of loyalty to that. And, this was before we were the 9,000 kilo fucking gorilla and all that business. They know what they're doing under Linux. The performance, it shows. I mean, you don't run it with VSync. 126 FERPs. It doesn't matter if you're doing it 2160 or 1080. I mean, it's just going to hover around there. The only complaint is curse you for giving us this game like 3 weeks before it came out, you horrible people, because you nerfed my save. And I was kind of far in the game, but I really liked it a lot, and I'll tell you more about that in the fun section. So, I'll give 4 chairs.
Yeah, on the i7 6700K with the GTX 980 with 32 gigs of RAM. Yeah, no performance issues. I mean, this isn't the most graphically intense game out there, but, it hums along, so it gets 4 chairs.
Yeah, they noped everybody saves. It was like when was talking about is they sent me a key. Well, they sent Ven the first key, and then they sent me and Jordan the keys a bit later, but I was still like 2 or 3 chapters in. And when I first started playing it after the release, it's like, why am I starting from the beginning? Oh, right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. On the FX 8370E with the GTX 970 Strix and 16 gigs of RAM with 2 Samsung 850 EVOs and YOLO RAID and Fedora 2364-bit. And it ran absolutely perfect. No issues whatsoever, so 4 chairs.
All right, that's 4 chairs mixed with the working. What's up with shiny and sounds, Ben?
Pretty easy. There's no mistaking that this is from the creators of Tiny and Big. I mean, wicked strange art style. And that's absolutely a good thing. You are Elvis, but little Elvis, why are you so small? Question mark. I mean, you probably want to feed little Elvis some fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches to make him a little bit bigger because he gets
with the pill chaser
easily lost in the background. He's kind of color-coded, especially in the other, earlier levels, to what is in that background. So you're kind of playing on feel and all that and camera control. But we are talking about those backgrounds because they are beautiful. They are detailed, albeit slightly dark, a little bit raised, but they are neat. They're well done. Just nice. It does have sounds. You'll listen to the sounds. Pedro's like, it's got a nice thunk to it, which it does. I'm not going to argue that. But we were talking before we even went live with this. When I have to play a platformer of any type, Jordan and Pedro need to rage and get sweaty palms and all that business. I need to zen the hell out because I can handily snap a controller in half if I'm not. So, like zen back, put on something, soothing like Slayer, which I normally do. So, shiny and sounds, shiny, perfect sounds, there. There's nothing amazing, but it's still 3 chairs, solid.
Yeah, the clunk that you get when you actually land on the platforms is, well, pretty good. Sorry, I got to throw out all that cocaine from my nose. I like the character design is very well done. I got about through the first chapter and a bit, and they're still dealing with the racism theme. So I want to mention that because they do a fantastic job with visual storytelling in this game. There is no dialogue whatsoever, and yet it gets the story, what little story there is, across very well. And yeah, it works. My only real gripe is the soundtrack was kind of forgettable because once in a while I was like focusing on something, I'd hear like music and I'd go, what the hell is that? Oh, right, the game audio. And then it just fade back into static as I'm trying to avoid not getting killed. So, I mean, beyond that, the game looks fine. It sounds pretty good. I'll give it 3 chairs. No real issues with it whatsoever.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed the sound design. From the background music to the always satisfying twang when you make a leap of faith and you hit one of the metal platforms at high speed. Very, very satisfying. I guess that's a good thing because if you've been paying attention to our previous CHAIRQUISITIONs, you'll know that I have little love left for platformers. Ven did bring up an interesting point. Your character, little Elvis, he tends to get lost in the middle of all the crap that's going on in a level, especially in those crap heavy sections of levels where the camera zooms out and your teeny tiny little red pyramid gets lost in all the lasers and showers and red platforms. Yeah, that's a big one. But it's not just the character. In fact, more than once I had to make a leap of faith because I couldn't for the life of me see where the next platforms were. The blue platforms, when they recoil, if you're just Elvis and you're not wearing the blue suit, the blue platforms will recoil, and they're basically the exact dark shade of brown, totally racist, as the rest of the skybox. And I have these two Asus VX 239 HW IPS monitors with like an 80 million to 1 contrast ratio, and even with the contrast checked all the way up, I still had to stop and take stock of what's what, so I could see where the hell I was going. And in a game which is very clearly aiming for a faster pace and they outright grade you on your speed, that's a bad thing, but more of that on the fun. For Shiny and Sounds, get 3 chairs.
All right, and that's 3 chairs for Shiny and Sounds. Up next is Control. This one's going to be really quick, isn't it, Ben?
It is, because tight controls are trite. Tight!
They're very trite, Ben.
Very trite, much like us. There's a actual question that we will answer about the X-Clone controller, which I use to play on Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays. Tune into that this upcoming Wednesdays, and I'll give you the answer on that. But they are absolutely tight, and that's what you should be playing it for. I mean, we're talking super meat, cisgendered male tight controls. Absolutely, 100%. And they do absolutely have to be, since Elvis is in the business of taking care of the business. And guess what? With these controls, business is good. Keyboard controls function, but you know what? I was unable to summon enough self-hatred to continue testing them any further than they work. This is brilliant. Hella tight. Absolutely love it. So we give 4 chairs.
Games like these basically require tight controls, and if it were any other way, I'd give it 1 chair because you can't play the game.
Right?
Exactly. That's really all I have to say about that. 4 chairs. I mean, I'll add on, like, on both the Steam controller and the PlayStation 4 controller, everything works well. It rumbles on the PlayStation controller. Wasn't expecting that. Someone's using it.
Yeah, no, absolutely no complaints for me here. You push a little button on the Mistress or whatever controller it happens to catch your fancy with, and there's no noticeable delay, like, whatsoever. If you cock up and you miss a jump, it's your own damn fault. So for me, I guess 4 chairs.
All right, that's 4 chairs for control. Let's wrap this up. Ben, did you have fun?
I did. Not a huge fan of well, you know, I like platformers, but what we don't like, embarrassment of riches in 2016 that we can pick and choose. Is like, what platformers do we and do not like in Linux gaming? You know, I don't like something that is intentionally trying to be Nintendo hard or anything like that. And I don't like something that is intentionally trying to be built for, like, speedrunning a game. You got to find that nice little balance. The most recent game we found that did that was, I think we can all agree, lads, is Speedrunners.
Yes.
Not Nintendo hard and not necessarily made for, like, speedrunning, even though the name of the game is Speedrunners. This has a nice mix of that. You start off, it's not too much. I mean, it's going to teach you the mechanics. You're a bit magnetic because you're a bit metal, and that's awesome. We do like a bit of metal. And you learn the ropes. I mean, it kind of guides you through it. It doesn't hold your hand too much.
Oh, no.
It doesn't throw a whole lot in your way. I mean, it gives you the basic mechanics. You can go from metal to the other creature, which I'm not going to spoil any of the things, but the other creature, you know, he's rust-proof and all that. But, you know, it's basically your color mechanics. Then you're going to be dealing with, like a bomb-type mechanic. Then the wind, sideways mechanic, upside down mechanic, and jump pads. Challenging. I mean, the first 2 ons I put into this game, very challenging. I mean, fun. I mean, rage quit at a minimum. And not even really rage quit. It was like, all right, then you fucked that up. And it's rare to have a game that makes you go, fuck this game, stupid game, won't leave a bad review. No, I was like, Ven, you fucked that up. That was your own damn fault. Because the controls are so fuck-mothering tight on this. So you come back. And it does give you a little bit of ranking. I'll give you a little bit of suggestion. Black Pants, we need like something that shows where Pedro and I are at. Because Jordan doesn't care about stuff like this. Pedro and I, we're all teeth and nails when it comes to competition. So get us a leaderboard and all that business. But then you go to the other world. I mean, it's not explained to you. You're like, oh, the puzzles are kind of the same and all that. They're challenging, but they're fair. They're good. And I was like, then you beat the first boss. And it's like, boss? What? Because you never really fight anything. It's just all puzzles and environment puzzles. Then you get the boss and you beat the boss and like, yay, look at me, I'm special. And, you know, I was going to let it go from there. Then I was perusing through the achievements and I was like, then you go to the other world. And I was like, the fuck is the other world? We must know. So then I got to the other world and that's kind of where I'm at. And I beat the other world. Then I got to war where the difficulty curve went from, you're really good at this, but you know what? Fuck you, because that's why. And that's basically where it went. Good God. Still, I had a good time. And at this price, you know, I have not finished the game yet, full disclosure, but they do say, you know, what does this clock in at? What, $12.99?
12, 13 bucks. Yeah.
12, 13, what stinky caches. The average runtime for this, you know, 5 or 6 ons, well spent, good achievements. And, you know, Black Pants working that leaderboards, then maybe we'll get back to you on top of that and you get 4 chairs. But for right now, I'm going to give it 3. I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I don't really like rage platformers. I'm one of these people who gets...
I don't think this is a rage platformer.
Well, I mean, let me finish. 'Cause I'm getting to that.
All right, Kanye. All right, fuck off.
Cool. I was just wondering. So, I mean, I don't really like rage platformers. Super Meat Boy, no time to explain. Like I get that people really enjoy the challenge. I'm one of these people who gets like really intensely angry at games and will totally smash my controllers. And there are some sizable dents in this very desk where I've done just that.
I'll back you up on that 100%. He is telling the truth.
But this is actually fun. Like I enjoy playing this game. When you die and when you fuck up, yeah, there's that point where you have to put this down and say, you know what, fuck, I gotta sit down. But then you start going over it in your head and you're like, okay, yeah, this is what I did wrong. And then I found myself coming back after about like 5-10 minutes and playing it again. The character designs are fun to look at, and what little story it has unfolds in a manner that's reasonably paced with the gameplay, which is nice because it's not like stuff like Uncharted where, oh, I just really want to watch the cinematics and not actually play the game. And it's a nice little addition once you finish the level and you're like, oh, and then this happened. Neat. They're tough, like Ven mentioned, the puzzles are tough but fair. And that's really what you want for a platformer is, tough but fair. You realize that these are all doable. You just have to get the right combination of button presses. And oftentimes what I would find is I realized what I needed to do. I just needed to find a way to communicate to my hand that this is the exact sequence of things that I need to do. I'd honestly recommend picking it up. It's fun. It'll eat a couple hours of your life, and you'll feel good about yourself once you clear out some puzzles. I will say that the boss mechanic is actually kind of interesting because all the bosses are puzzles, but they're enemies, but enemy puzzles. It's weird. Check it out. 3 chairs.
So, remember, I don't know if you guys watching this or Van and Jordan, if you remember the world switching mechanic from Guacamelee.
Not true.
When you had this,
I don't, Petey. Tell me about it.
Yeah, when you had to switch from the dead world to the living world, and some walls were physical in the undead world, and others were only physical in the living world. That was kind of one of the major mechanics of Guacamelee back in the day, but they didn't really start fucking with you with that specific mechanic until like you were 2 or 3 hours in. In this game, they expect you to have mastered it in less than 3 minutes after acquiring said mechanic. And they grade you at the end of the level. That's just rubbing it in at that point. What's that? You picked up the little currency thing, but you used it on a checkpoint? Bitch. Oh, you finished the level in like 10 seconds. Yeah, that's cute. 57th place. What?
You're not very good at this, are you?
Well then, fuck you too, game. I'm gonna go play something that isn't a freaking 2D platformer in 2016. Now, usually I don't suck at platformers. I don't even inherently hate them. I'm just really tired of the genre. I spent the entirety of the 90s decade playing platformers day in and day out with some Doom and Duke Nukem and Quake and Fallout thrown in between. But On Rusty Rails is a really good platformer. Hell, it's awesome if you grade it on the Rage platformer, which manages not even to be completely cynical. You know, the type like the ones those screechy Let's Players on YouTube often feature. But it's... Maybe it's just me, but I'm really, really burnt out on platformers at this point. So I can't really give it 3 chairs like Van and Jordan did, but 2 is fair.
So that averages out to 2 chairs for fun, which means that Ruby on Rails gets 3 chairs total. So that's pretty good. Final thoughts?
Well, I mean, if we're going to put it like this, I mean, I got to say this to the beautiful friends of mine in Deutschland at Black Pants Studio. If you're going to do a character named Elvis and he doesn't eat peanut butter and jelly, or, just fried peanut butter sandwiches, he at least needs to have mummies and a black JFK with part of his brain organ replaced with a bag of sand.
Yeah, if you if you aren't as decidedly over platformers as I am, if this is a genre you very much enjoy playing,
When was the last time we had such a tight platformer on Linux?
Super Meat Boy probably.
Speedrunners.
Yeah. Speedrunners too, yes. But yeah, if you're not completely burnt out on platformers, this is the game you want. But if you're like me and you're an asshole and you're completely done with platformers at this point, it's not going to change your mind either.
I disagree because I don't like rage platformers, and I liked.
It's not a rage platformer
on Ruby on Rails.
This is well done. I mean,
okay, fine. I will say that it has at least the aesthetic mechanics of a rage platformer, despite the fact that the levels are not ridiculously hard and require ultra pixel perfect precision
and take less than a minute apiece to complete. I mean, this is a complete disconnect from something like Tiny and Big, which was a brilliant mechanic. You know, it's like you just cut and slice and dice everything in the damn world. Complete. It was like, oh, we just made this new game, and I was expecting something Tiny and Big like no, we're gonna fuck mothering platform. And I was like, all right, not only did you do that well, you just made a platformer interesting for me. I'm sorry, Jordan.
You nailed it.
All right, well, there you have it. If that speaks to you, go check out On Rusty Trails. If not, go fuck yourselves.